Over the last 2.5 years, I've generated over $7.3 million for clients using VSL call funnels. And over that time, I've discovered 7 steps that all of my highest converting VSLs share. So in this video, not only will I be sharing these 7 steps with you, but I will also show you exactly how I script the VSLs, as well as some snippets of successful VSLs that you can duplicate to turn leads into qualified booked calls who are ready to pay for your coaching on command. Now, before we even dive into the steps, there's something crucial you need to do before you start, and that is market research. And while a lot of people ignore this because they think this is tedious, this is exactly what you need to do because it's going to help you avoid writer's block. It's going to give you a map to follow when you're writing the VSL, and it's going to help you write 10 times faster. So here's an example creative brief for one of our clients. And the main things that I want you to focus on when you're creating your creative brief is finding what competitors are doing, the sales angles they are taking in their VSLs, and then with your avatar, I want you to focus on the problems that your avatar is experiencing, problems or pains, the desires that they want, right? So the dream state they want to achieve, and also the objections and limiting beliefs that are holding them back and keeping them stuck. This is crucial because once you have this down, this is when you start working on the first step of the VSL. And the first step of the VSL isn't to start writing the VSL. It's creating your unique selling point. And you might be wondering, why do I need to start with that? Why don't I just do that later in the VSL? The reason for that is because when people will see your VSL, there's hundreds of other VSLs and competitors, or dozens at least, who are also targeting your customers with their marketing material. So you need to stand out. There needs to be something unique that separates you from everyone else and from every other solution that your ICP has experienced. Now, how do you actually create your unique mechanism solution? Well, it's not going to be, I help people lose weight. It can't be, I help businesses get more leads. And it cannot be, I help coaches sign clients. That is not a unique mechanism. That is just what you do. Your unique mechanism is going to sound like the adaptive trading approach if you're selling a trading mentorship. It's going to sound like the 6-figure barber blueprint. It's going to sound like the sustainable weight loss formula. This is going to be what separates you from everyone else in the market. And the way I want you to think about creating your unique mechanism is think of it as a distinct process, method, or sequence, a hidden lever, right? Almost like the magic pill that your customers can take, your avatar can take, in order to produce the result that they want and get the outcomes that they're after in a way that's completely different from everything else they've tried so far and failed. And that's a very important point that I'm going to get into in step 4, because your unique mechanism is exactly what's going to invalidate all the other solutions that they've tried. The unique mechanism is how you position yourself into a new category. You can see people like Brez Scales do this when he did freelance brand scaling instead of selling media buying. And now he's pivoted to AI advertiser. He's not saying start a media buying agency. He's not saying become a freelancer. He's saying become an AI advertiser. He put himself in a completely new category that doesn't exist, that separates him from all the other gurus who sell a similar product. Now, once you have your unique mechanism, how do you actually put it on paper? How do you turn it into a piece of copy that starts your VSL? Well, that's what we're going to go into in step 2, because you're going to create your one belief line. And what you're trying to do with your one belief line is show that the current opportunity, like trading, for example, is the only way for them to become rich, for them to make 10K per month, whatever their goal is. That reality is only attainable if they follow your specific mechanism. And here's what it looks like. The adaptive trading approach is the best strategy to stay profitable in the current volatile market conditions. Or the sustainable weight loss formula is the only way to lose weight and keep it off permanently. Now, why do you actually need to start with a one belief sentence or one belief line? The reason for that is because your entire VSL must sell the prospects on one core idea. A big mistake that I used to make when I started writing VSLs and they would flop is I would have a bunch of conflicting ideas trying to compete for the prospect's attention. I didn't have one big belief that I was trying to shift with the prospect, shifting them to believe that I have the one thing, right? Not the multiple things, the one thing that's going to help them reach their dream outcome. And a lot of VSLs make this mistake and ultimately fail. So when you create this one belief line, you now have direction to write in. And you know that your entire VSL is going to be centered around shifting and instilling this one belief. Then you're going to write your hook, otherwise known as the lead. And this is going to be step 3. This is how we actually hook the prospect's attention in, grab them by the throats, and make sure they keep watching the video. And there's 5 elements in the VSL hook that I'm about to reveal. But the main thing that these elements are trying to do is answer the 3 questions that are racing through your prospect's mind when they're at this point in the VSL, when they click on your VSL. The first one is, how is this different from everything else that I've tried? The second one is, what's in it for me? What's in it for me if I watch this VSL? And the last one is going to be, is this BS or is this real, right? They've seen a ton of your competitors. They've seen other solutions. Why should they believe that you have the solution that can help them? The way we fix this is with the 5 elements, which is including the problem, the promise, proof, curiosity, and removing the limitations in the very hook of your VSL or in the lead. And I'm going to show you how you can do this with an example of a VSL we wrote for a client who helps barbers scale. And you're going to find these lines here when I play the VSL, and I want you to pay attention how every line has a specific role in hitting one of these 5 core elements.
Do you ever watch mediocre barbers on your Instagram feed give worse haircuts than you while charging triple your prices? Do you ever find yourself sore and exhausted after 12-hour days at the shop only to look at your bank account and wondering why you're still struggling? Well, what if I told you the difference between making $3,000 to $6,000 a month and well over $100,000 per year while working half the time has nothing to do with how skilled you are with your clippers or your location? Well, my name is Pico, also known as Rice Cuts, and what I'm about to show you flies in the face of everything you've ever been told about making it as a barber. Because in the last 2 years, I've amassed an 800,000 follower audience across my social platforms and have been able to consistently generate $10,000 to $15,000 a month as a barber. All this while living in a small town of 90,000 people without working a second job as an influencer and without risking my income or reputation. Just 2 years ago, I was exactly where you might be right now. I was working 12-hour days, hell, sometimes.
This VSL started by introducing the problem that the ICP is experiencing. It burst into curiosity and opened a loop. It made a promise and proved the promise by proving the creator and what he's done with this promise that he's making. And it removed the limitations that the ICP has by saying that this has nothing to do with their location, which is a big objection for this avatar, and it doesn't have to require them to work a second full-time job as an influencer, which is one of the core objections with this avatar. And again, this goes back to step 1 before you start, which is creating the creative brief so that you can have these things and you can just write them in as quickly as possible as you write the VSL. Now, once you have them hooked in, your prospects won't take any action on anything you sell them onto until you can reframe the problem that they're currently experiencing and empower them, right? You need to shift the beliefs around why they're currently failing, because if they're failing because of a reason that you give them, then that means if they have this new mechanism that solves all the reasons they're failing, they could possibly succeed. And the way we do that is by introducing the problem. There's 4 questions that are racing through your prospect's mind when you are introducing the problem. And that's going to be, what's holding me back? Who's responsible for my failure? So who can I blame, right? Who can I point my finger at and say, this is why I'm not where I want to be? And this one is very important because people, by nature, they love the scapegoat. No one wants to take accountability. And if you force them to take accountability, they won't be as empowered to take action on something new. Because if they're at fault for their failure, well, if they try this new thing, they're thinking that they're likely to fail again. Now, the next one is, why should I trust you? We need to build more proof. And this specifically, we're going to build proof around the creator, right? I've went through this myself. And then the next question is, why should I care right now, right? So why is it important for me to address this problem, this failure right now? Why can't I just keep putting it off like I have been? Right? And the way we answer all of these questions step by step is, the first question is answered with a unique failure mechanism. So you're being held back by, for example, the profit paradox. That's what we used in the trading VSL. And by the way, I'm going to show you this VSL because it helped this creator who was at 1,000 followers at the time make $40,000 per month. But before I do, the answer to the second question is, who do they point their fingers at? And that's going to be the system or the trading gurus that's making them fail, spreading misinformation and holding them back. The third question is, why should I trust you? And the answer to that is, I've been through this myself, so I know exactly what you're experiencing. And since I'm at this point now, I can help you. And then the cost of an action, right? Why should I care right now? The reason we answer that by saying most traders stay stuck in this failure mechanism, the profit paradox, until they lose all their money and get forced out of the markets. So let me play you a snippet of what this starts like and how we introduce the problem in Ali's VSL here.
What we call a profit paradox, and it's what destroys 80% of traders before they see any real success. The problem is that trading has become a mindless process where you're just following hit or miss signals, using generic strategies, or failing to actually understand a profitable strategy on your own account. And while these strategies...
So that's how we successfully introduce the problem and the problem mechanism with Ali's VSL. Now, once you introduce your problem, the next step is introducing your solution. But this is also where a lot of writers and people who create their VSLs go wrong, because they jump straight from problem to solution and nothing in between. The way you need to introduce your solution is through an epiphany bridge. And the way that looks like is saying things like, so after being stuck in this hamster wheel of trial and error for months on end, I came across this adaptive trading approach. It wasn't an overnight change, and what happened was blah, blah, blah. When you're introducing your solution and you're explaining the epiphany bridge, you need to introduce the mechanism through a story of trial and error, right? Because here we created credibility by saying, I went through this. And then when you start introducing the solution, you say, and this is how I found the solution. And you need to be detailed there. Then you need to explain the mechanism in a logical way that fits into the beliefs that the prospects already have to give them an aha moment. Then you're going to transition to student results to show that this hasn't just worked for you, but it works for other people. Because when people watch this, they're going to think, well, he found this cool solution, but it's just cool for him, right? It might not work for me. So we need to prove that it's going to work for other people. And then we're going to future pace their dream state by saying what the outcome of the solution, of getting the solution was. And I'm going to show you how we did this with Theta Warrior, whose VSL has generated over $600,000 for him.
So after being stuck on this hamster wheel of trial and error for months on end, I came across this adaptive trading approach. It wasn't an overnight change. What happened was I took a step back and studied the moves of the top traders, all the while refining my strategy. I wasn't studying all the strategies and patterns out there. Instead, I focused on analyzing what the top day traders were doing to adapt and profit, regardless of the market conditions, trends, or volatility. For 2 years straight.
So that's how we introduced the mechanism through the story. And now this is how we transition into the future pacing and the results of the mechanism.
So after being stuck on this hamster wheel of trial and error for months on end, I came across this adaptive trading approach. It wasn't an overnight change. What happened was I took a step back and studied the moves of the top traders, all the while refining my strategy. I wasn't studying all the strategies and patterns out there. Instead, I focused on analyzing what the top day traders were doing to adapt and profit, regardless of the market conditions, trends, or volatility. For 2 years straight, I was following their trades and building out my own strategy based on what I was learning. I practiced in a paper trading account, putting in the reps on a daily basis.
Now, if you do these first 6 steps correctly, your emotional sale will be made, right? People buy with their emotions and then they justify it with logic. So now we need to make the logical sale and help them justify why they need to act on whatever you're selling now. And we're going to do this by moving to step 6, where you pitch your actual product. And I misspelled product right here. But when you're at step 6, there's going to be not 2, there's 3 questions that are going through your prospect's mind. The first one is, okay, I understand this works, right? I'm sold on it. I believe this works. The belief has shifted. How can I get started? How does it actually work, right? How can I use this? And will this work for me? Because maybe my situation is still different and I'm not like the students you showed. I'm not like you. And the way we answer this and we handle this is by telling them that they can get started in the program that you've created to help them start with this mechanism. This works by giving you Y deliverable that will help you get XYZ benefit, right? So that's how it's going to work for them. And then we're going to remove the limitations to answer the question of, will this work for me? And I can show you how we did this with Conrad. He now runs a new offer, but on his previous offer, which was selling a Snapchat business opportunity to people through a VSL funnel. And I want you to pay attention to these 2 lines that you're going to hear, which starts the pitch and then removes limitation. And this is the pattern that's going to follow through deliverables. So let me play a snippet.
Experience into a plug-and-play Snapchat spiral formula. It eliminates guesswork and provides a proven blueprint towards consistent 3 to 5k monthly income without wasting more time on complex business models or skills that take years to master, or having to deal with any competition where you start. As long as you can follow this clear-cut formula, you'll
Now that pattern that you've just seen, that continues into deliverables to help the prospect make the logical sale. And then from there, we are not done because we need to close the prospects, right? We need to tell them why they need to act now, right? Because there's a thing called human inertia, right? If someone's sitting on their couch, they're watching this, they think it sounds nice, they're sold, they still don't really want to change. People resist change. They want to stay in their comfort zone. So here's how we close them and answer the single most important question that's going to be racing through the prospect's mind when they're at this point in your VSL, which is, why should I start now? The reason they should start now, and the reasons we show in the VSL, is scarcity, urgency. We give them a guarantee depending on the offer. And then we go into a 2 paths close with negative future pacing. And I'm going to show you how we did this for another creator, Dior. Specifically, I'm going to go into the 2 path close. And before the 2 path close in this VSL, we already added the urgency element and the scarcity element by talking about limited spots and how fast those spots are filling up. But anyways, let me play a snippet of this VSL.
And the choice is truly up to you. This is something that you need to decide for yourself. The first pass would be to close this page and keep doing whatever you've been doing. Keep telling yourself, I just need to try harder. Keep watching people that seem less capable pull ahead, get whatever they want in life while you stay stuck and behind. Keep breaking promises to yourself every single week. You can even go ahead and try watching more videos or try to give yourself another trick that gives you like a 2-day motivational spike like just for it to fade away. But the real question is this: how much longer are you going to keep allowing your internal block to stop your dreams from materializing? How much longer will you keep delaying living the life you built a business for? How much time do you have left before that fire inside of you?
And when you go into the second path, you future pace everything they're going to get when they unlock this mechanism inside of your program, and that's how you close a VSL. Those are the 7 steps to writing a high converting VSL. Those steps produced over 7.2 million in client results from VSL book a call funnels. Now, if you run a VSL book a call funnel or you want one set up for you, scroll down to the description and book a free business audit call with me, and I will either audit your VSL or show you how you can script a VSL step by step. If we align, then we can work together and improve your VSL conversions, or script the VSL from scratch and scale your book a call funnel in as little as 2 to 4 weeks on a completely done for you basis.